Everybody, it's Amy with So Let's Make a Bag here in Pentwater, Michigan. I wanted to thank everybody for participating in Have Duffle Will Travel, the December box for So Let's Make a Bag. So I wanted to do a couple of tips and tricks for you guys so you kind of know what's happening in the box. So with your little pamphlet behind it, you should get this Have This Duffel Bag 2.0 Supplemental. So these are just things that I did that were a little different from the directions for the Buy Any bag, the truffle bag, the duffel bag. So the first thing we're doing is I have included either the single-sided or the double-sided 1 yard cut of the Basel, the NR Form Plus. You only need 1 yard if you cut everything like the page. So I have a little graphic on the other page, and it has how I'm going to mark and cut this 1 yard piece so that it works for your duffel. I just wanted to show you what you're getting. So you're getting this in our form. You're either getting the double-sided or the single-sided. If you're doing the Quilt As You Go for colorway 2 and colorway 3, you'll be getting the single-sided. If you're doing for colorway 1, which is a cheater, let's see, grab it, which is the cheater fabric that looks like it's all quilted together, but it's actually just printed that way. So those people are going to cut out their foam like I have here, or you could do it whichever way you like, and then you will quilt. I just quilted right along the lines. So you're gonna fuse your main side to one side of the fusible, and then your lining to the other, and quilt and cut as the pattern says. Or you're going to do your single-sided, and we're going to cut out all of our foam, and then we're going to fuse our lining to one side, and then we're going to quilt as you go the pieces on top of it to make this pattern here. So make sure I get a hold of that. Okay, so I'm going to show you the package, and then in the next video I'm going to show you it all laid out, and then we're going to cut the foam, and then we're going to fuse our lining on one side, and then I'll show you how I did the Quilt As You Go method on it. All right, see you next time.
You're recording.
Hey everybody, it's Amy from So Let's Make a Bag and So Let's Be Quilty Studio. I'm just hopping on really quick to give you a couple of tips and tricks and to explain the Travel Duffel Supplemental that you received in your box. So that's what it looks like. It's right behind your pamphlet on what's in your box. It's just some tips and tricks that I used for cutting out the foam and for putting if you got colorway 2 or 3, doing the Quilt As You Go method for putting the strips on your foam. So in your box, if you got a colorway 1, you got a double-sided foam, and basically that one's just fabric that looks like it has been quilted. So you're just fusing the main side to the main side and the lining to the other side, and quilting as you like, and then cutting out the pieces as directed by the pattern. For the colorways 2 and 3, you're getting a single-sided 1 yard piece of NR Form foam. So you're going to fuse the lining onto the fusible side, and then we're going to sew the strips onto the non-fused side to make the Quilt As You Go fabric, just like we see in the colorway 2 that I have in front of me. So the pattern does call for 1.5 yards of foam, or soft and stable. I found that with the yard package and then the picture I have on page 2, that you have plenty to cut out everything you need for the duffel with one 1 yard package. So that made this duffel possible, as it would have been quite a little bit more expensive to do it without that, but that's neither here nor there. So we can do it with the yard, and I love not having to waste any of the foam. So this is what we're doing. Okay, so this is what you're going to get in your box. And then we're going to go through the supplemental, and I'm going to show you how I mark this up and how I cut it. And then we're going to show you how to sew your strips onto the foam. So thank you for participating in December So Let's Make a Bag. And in the next video, okay, hi, I hope everybody's doing great. So we have our piece of foam out. This is our non-fusible side that's up. The fusible side is down. So I found it easiest to, you can either use a Frixion pen, or you can use a fine, ultra fine point Sharpie. Just don't make a big heavy line with your Sharpie. It's permanent, so it's not going to show anywhere, and you're going to cut on the line. So most of your mark is going to be cut off or gone anyway. So I wouldn't worry about that. So the first thing I do is I measure this 16 by 36. So I have it long ways, just like the photograph or the picture. And so we're going to mark this 16 by 36. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to fast forward and show you how I marked everything. You can just mark this and this, the 23 by 42, and then just follow the measurements and cut those out, or you could mark everything. So it's really up to you. So we're going to grab our big ruler, and I just mark from this edge. We want 16 inches. So I just make a couple of marks so that I can cut it. And then I am going to put this just across those few marks, and we're going to use our rotary cutter and then move our foam so it's still on our cutting mat. Okay, so now I have the first two pieces. I have the 16 by 36, which is this one right here, and then I have the 36 by 42. So I'm going to cut off 23 inches. That's going to be my bag body, and then I'm going to cut all the rest of the pieces from here and here. So I'm going to put this one aside, right over the bag. I'm going to pull this one down. I'm going to mark the 23 inches. So sometimes it's nice to give yourself a mark right at the bottom. And then either you can mark a whole line, or you can mark just little places like I'm doing right now. Either way works. If you wanted to use scissors to cut these, you could do that as well, but the rotary cutter is much faster and easier. So I'm going to turn this so I have an easier time of it. And then again, I'm just lining up my marks. And these pieces are all cut about an inch bigger than the final sizes they need to be per the pattern, because you're going to quilt these, and as you quilt them, they will get a bit smaller. So you want them a little bit bigger so you can cut them down to the correct size. So now this piece is, we're going to put our strips on, and that's going to become our bag body. And then this piece is going to end up being this side right here. So we're going to cut all those pieces out, and I would cut out your, in your directions, she has little tags that you can take a photocopy of and then cut them out. I suggest that you just match these up all with the what they need to be. So this is the main bag body. Then, you know, these are like the sides or whatever they are. So just kind of match them up, put a tag on them with a clip or a pin, and that way you know exactly where they go when you're cutting out your fabric. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I just cut this one with my rotary cutter. And then the next one will mark so you can see what I do with the marks. Okay, so we're going to go and do these first. So you need 9.5 by 11 because this is 13. So you need 9.5. So I'm just going to line it up on my 9.5 on this. So I have my first piece. And I'm going to do the other 9.5. And then I'm going to right away subcut these both into the 11 that they need to be. You can do them one at a time or you can stack them. It's whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so I'm going to put those up there. These are 9.5 by 7s. So what you could do, I'm going to flip this because as it comes off the factory, this is the straightest edge. Line that up at 9.5. And then this is going to go seven. So this is a 6.5 inch ruler. So I know that if I put my ruler a 1/2 inch beyond it, that would be the 7. So those two are done. And then we're going to do 9.5 by 4. And then this one, I can just use my ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4. So double check them if you want. 9.5 by 4. Okay, and then this leftover piece, we're going to do a 7 by 3.5. So there's 3.5 and 7. So 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 7. And then just make sure this is a nice even 3.5. Okay, so that is all cut. So that piece is all cut. And then this one, if you wanted to have them measured and you wanted to actually take your marker and make sure they're all laid out like marked so you had them. So So you would do 9.5. And 9.5. And by 14.5. And then 19 is our other 9.5 inch mark. Okay, so I have these two done. So I have those marked out, and then we're doing another 9.5 from that mark. Okay, and then you're going to cut those. So I'm just going to take my ruler, line these guys up. That will be my 6x10, which is for my trolley sleeve. I'm pretty positive. I'm going to do this one first because then that's one. I don't have to do 2 more cuts. I only have to do 1. These must be the bag ends. Pretty sure they are. Okay, so I have those. 2 7 by 9.5. So again, I'm going to line this up on a straight edge and then just go 1/2 inch over. You can also use these instructions for cutting out your fabric pieces. So they all, for your lining, so they all fit. And then we're going to do a 6x10. So I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to put the straight edge on the 6 and then the 10 up here. So I just have to make 2 cuts. 1 and 2. Okay, so here are all the parts and pieces for this duffel bag, all right here, all cut. And then this is all the waste. So very little waste. And that makes me happy because I like when things are not wasteful. So that's all your waste. So these are pieces that you can either keep for a smaller project or you've wasted so little of it. I wouldn't feel bad about putting that in the trash can. But anyway, okay, so that's how we cut those out. And then the next thing you're going to do is take all of your strips, and we're going to decide what strips we are going to use for the main bag, this part. So you'll need 12 strips. So what I do is I audition them and see which ones I like, and then I'm going to cut a 2.5 inch strip of those 12, and we're going to start building the bag body. All right, we'll show that to you in, well, let's see if I can just reach over and grab it. Okay. This was my little bag for this project. So I have all my strips in here. Yep, I have all my strips. Okay. So here are all my strips. So what I'm going to do is going to sit down so you can get a better look at what I'm doing. So I'm just going to start building from the center out. So the ones at the ends might get cut off a little bit. So I'm probably not going to put my favorites at the ends. So, oh, I love that one. Let's see. So we'll put this one at the end because that makes a great end. We'll do this blue maybe at the other end. And then I kind of like to see some textures and colors that are different from each other next to each other. So you need 12 of them. I'll let that over here. So everybody's getting a little bit different mixture. So make sure you put the ones that really make you happy in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I picked the ones that I was in love with at first. All right. This green is going to end up being my straps as well. So I think I'm going to end up putting the green all the way at the end. Like that. All right, so here's my lineup. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I kind of like the way those are looking. So I'm going to cut a 2.5-inch strip off of each one of these, and then I will cut my backing fabric and fuse it to the back side of my back. And then we are going to start building our bag body. And we're going to do it just like it says on your supplemental. So we are going to arrange the 2-inch strips. We are going to quilt as you go. And remembering all seams are a 1/4 inch for putting these on. I make my stitch length. I go up to 3 millimeters or 3.1 or 3.2 because you're going through foam, so it's going to be a little thicker. So you want your machine to not do a huge amount of work. All right, so I'm going to cut my strips, fuse my back, and then I'm going to show you how we mark the center line and get quilting as you go for the duffel. All right. Hey there, everybody. Okay, now we're going to work on, we have our 2.5-inch strips cut. So I just went and cut all of my, oh, let me take this out of the way. I just went and cut all of my, so you have enough to cut 2.5-inch strips out of each of the colors that's in your kit. So go ahead and cut all of them. So I have my extra strips over here in a pile. And then these are ones I'm going to work with. So if you wanted to do like a little dry run, you could kind of put your strips out so you see what they look like and see if this is exactly what you wanted. So I'm just going to lay these out really quick so you can kind of see where I'm going. Like that. So there's our middle. So I took my my bag body and I fused my lining onto the other side. So my lining is on there. And I have chosen these strips from the ones available. I like all of these anyway, so super easy. So if you want to change anything, now is the time to do it. I think I like everything the way it's set up, so I am going to put them in descending order. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So I'm going to start with my 7 and my 6 because I've drawn a line in the center. And I've used my Frixion pen because the minute I put a little bit of heat on that, that's going to go away. And I'm going to start with my center 2 pieces. And I am going to put this one face up right on that line. And the foam, it's a little, this side is a little bit sticky, so that helps you. And then I'm going to take my other piece and I'm going to put that right sides together, right on top of each other like that. So I put these going descending. These are going to go like this. And then you can also take a picture of how you set them up, so you, so in case you get confused, you have a record of where you wanted to go. And then you're going to pin this right on the line, and then I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch away, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And then I'm just going to flip, either iron or just smooth out, and then keep adding to each side until it's all done. So we're going to take this over to the sewing machine. Make sure you have these off this top one. Make sure it's nice and you have all the selvages off this. So I'm going to take this off really quick so I can get it nice and even. And if I could find my foot. All right. I backstitch on this. You don't necessarily need to because you're going to trim part of this. And then we're going to make sure this one's on the line and that one's right on top of it. I'm not gonna lie, this is a big piece of foam, and it will take you a minute to get through this. So I'm gonna stop talking, so when we edit this, we could just speed this up so you can see where we're going. All right, here we have our bag body with the strips also to it. So I'm going to give this a really good iron. And then you could put some other quilting on here if that made you happy, but you don't have to. Because you can see the back side has all of the quilting that's holding it together. Okay, so I'm going to pull over the Sunflowers of My Heart so you can kind of see what I did. So what I did was, this is the bag body here. And then for the pockets, I did them going the opposite direction. So these are all horizontal. These are vertical, right? And then the bag ends I have as going vertical, and then your little pockets on the end as horizontal. You can do this any way that makes you happy. I also, in the instructions in the supplemental, you'll see that the front pocket, slip pocket, is just one piece of fabric, and I just fuse the lining to one side, put the top on there, and put a couple of lines of stitching kind of to match what was on there. And then on the back side, you have the other slip pocket and then your trolley sleeve. And those are all just solid pieces of fabric. And I just thought it was nice to have something to have a solid piece on those. So that is Quilt As You Go. So you're just going to do the same method with all of your other pieces. As you can see, or I'm going to show you. So these are all of the pieces that are fused. So all these pieces have the lining fused to them, and then you're just going to quilt as you go or add your solid pieces on there. And then make sure you put your tabs on these, making sure you know what parts are what. And then you're just going to do the regular by Annie directions as is. She does fantastic directions. She also does have an add-on video if you need that. And then so this is the Have Duffle Will Travel. And if you have any other questions on this, please feel free to contact me at amy@soletsmakeabag.com, and have fun making this fantastic duffel.